Hello, friends. Hello, friends.
A tradition unlike any other.
Oh, my goodness. In your life, have you seen anything like that?
There it is! Adam Scott, a life changer. Mashed potato!
Here it comes.
This is the 19th Tee podcast, Kieran Marsh, coming to you remotely for the first time, I think, since we've switched the YouTubes on, Drewster. Incredible to be on location in the biggest week of the golfing year, would you believe?
It's always what happens, mate. It's always what happens. But look, duty calls for you, my friend, and work first, play second. So,
don't we know it? The theme of this podcast, in many ways. Of course, we have just seen the 86th US Masters run and won. Where do we want to start? Do we want to start with our winner and the most impressive golfer in the world at the minute, or do we want to start with Smithy? Where do you want to start tonight, Reds?
I think we owe it to our Australian fans to start with Smithy. Let's go there first. Hit me with your initial takeaways, initial thoughts. Give me like 30 seconds on how you sum up Cam Smith.
So proud of the way that he performed once again at Augusta. Geez, I mean, shit, he loves this course, doesn't he? And I was really buoyed by his quotes after the round where he said, "I think it's only a matter of time. Like, I am going to wear the green jacket," and that's awesome. Like, that perspective after the round, considering how disappointed he must have been, was really nice to see. I was so flat, and I know we'll probably go through it in great detail, but 12 was disappointing. Sure, I mean the 12th at Augusta is undefeated, but I don't know. For me, it felt over a little earlier, and I know we'll pick it apart. But when Scottie Scheffler chipped in off the green on the third, it almost felt like there was nothing Cam could do. He might get close, and he might go on an all-time run, but it just felt with a shot like that after the start that Cam had, it kind of ripped the wind out of the sails. So look, mate, ultimately he put himself in a position, and we can't ask for much more than that other than for him to win. But yeah, just really proud of the way he went about his business this week, as I tend to always be with Smithy.
We laud him for his aggressive nature in many ways. Does he need to rein it in a touch though? Like, I only say this because we've seen it now multiple occasions where he's gone very hard. And I'm not saying that's what he kind of did on 12 today, really. He went at the pin when he needed to go. That shot was not there, really. Like, look where Scottie Scheffler hit it, smart. Does he need to rein it in a little bit? Because what I feel like is that the aggressive nature is going to pay off at times, and it is going to be very fruitful. We saw it at the Masters at 6 on that shot on 16. Phenomenal shot. We saw it earlier in the year. But there are going to be more losses than wins when you play that aggressive. Does he need to just, like, ever so slightly, just a touch rein it in, or is it something that we just deal with? Like, because I feel like we're going to talk about so many missed opportunities with Cam if he does continue to play so aggressive. I don't know. I'm in a weird space with it. What do you reckon?
My short answer is no, because if it's good enough for us to laud, to use your vernacular, him on 17 at the Players, and that shot that he took on at Sawgrass, if it's good enough for us to celebrate in that moment, then we have to accept. We have to accept that at times it's not going to fall his way. To be fair, if I look at 12, I don't think the shot was wrong. I think the club selection was wrong. I think, a 9-iron on that hole has proven time and time again to be the downfall of many players. And I know the temptation is not to take the 8 because you think the adrenaline's, you're going to pump it, into the flower bed at the back, but it's a better place to be than, chipping from an awkward drop zone, which ultimately he took it even further back because it's a stupid distance to try and get your range. So look, I it wasn't the only thing that didn't. It was most highlighted when he went into Rays Creek on 12. But what was it? Was it 10? Where no, it wasn't 10. It was a couple of holes beforehand where Scheffler put it over the back. He had an opportunity to maybe just take a less conservative shot. And again, he backed himself to a pin that was right on the front edge, just behind a bunker. And he dropped himself in a bunker and gave himself all of 5 feet to play with to try and get it up and down. And I ended up making bogey on that hole. So 12 accentuates it because it feels fatal. It feels final, right? But we saw elements of that throughout 4 rounds. And at times it paid off. At times it put him in a position to be competing. So, yeah, I agree with you. There's going to, more often than not, we're going to rue missed opportunities. But I think that it's innate to the player that he is. And in a situation like he was today, he never retreated. He never went back into his shell. Sure, probably 13, 14, 15, he was pretty pissed off, and you could see it's almost as emotional as we've seen him on the course in terms of his level of frustration, because he knew, right? He knew it was done. But I think you've got to love it. I think you just got to embrace it and know that that's part and parcel of who he is and how he plays.
Yeah, I just worry it's becoming a trend. There's been times like Memphis, right? Like where we sat here and we had the discussion. We were like, that's not smart. Like I get the temptation, and it's easy because he was behind today. If he was in the lead, we would have been talking about another Australian shit in the bed at the Masters, right? So he was behind, so he needed to find birdies. But there are times where I question, particularly at Augusta, that can be so punishing. Do we need to be this aggressive, like have this aggressive a play? Sometimes a par is as much as a win, right? And it was very much a match play situation between him and Scheffler at times today. So I just worry it's becoming a trend. I hope it's not becoming a trend. But what I am seriously concerned about with Cam Smith, and this is genuinely a concern of mine, is the driver. The driver is a big issue right now. He lost 0.69 of a shot off the tee today. Everything else, he was really, really good. His approach game was great. Putting, he was, serviceable, and he was gaining strokes around the green as well. But yeah, I'm really worried about the driver. We saw it nearly cost him the tournament on down at Sawgrass on 16. I think I said the wrong hole before, but 16. Like I'm concerned. I think the shades of Jordan Spieth here with the driver and Marshy.
There's not many players around him in terms of his caliber. He's a top 10 player in the world. Wouldn't be surprised if he drops up into the top 5 off the back of this performance. Not many players around him in the world that have a two-way miss. Most guys miss left. A couple miss right. It goes both ways, and that's unique at his level. I agree. It's a concern. I don't invest too much in how he lost the driver a lot, down the finishing couple of holes this week. Today in particular, because the emotion played a part. But yeah, there's no doubt that if he straightened that up even a third, that he in contention an awful lot more, because you see what keeps him in games in terms of his hands, particularly his chipping and his putting. If he could, we'd be. But just crazy, right? Like a T2, a T3, a T10, I think now, T5. But he's had 3 top 5 performances in 5 starts, 4 top 10s in 5 starts at Augusta National. I too feel like he does. It's inevitable. I just hope that it's not a story of, always the bridesmaid and never the bride. That's my only concern, is that we fast forward 10 years and we've had 8 top 10 finishes and 6 top 5 finishes and never secured it. But there is something truly romantic about him and that golf course. More so, like we've had a lot of guys, right? Like Greg Norman, really good without ever getting it done at Augusta. Scott has always has always done well there, save for this week. It's pretty fucking fun. About consistent as can be 5 starts today. Might be one of the toughest courses in the world.
Yeah, it's the old double adapter two-way miss. to use a throwback term for you and I as an inside joke. But look, I know that I raised those couple of concerns with Smithy, but overall, I was really pleased. I just think at times he's too aggressive on the course, and that's probably that'll come with experience too. I mean, we're talking about a guy who's 26, 27, 28 in his late 20s. So he's got a lot of golf still ahead of him. So that's probably me on Smithy. What have you got anything else? What do you want to talk, Scotty?
Well, no, I just want to say on Smithy, and not to dwell on it too much, but I get the sense that the circumstances accentuated the thought that maybe he's too aggressive today, right? Like the context of when he hit that tee shot, he'd just come off an unbelievable birdie at 11, was playing as the hardest hole on the course all week, 11, and he's hit a birdie there to get himself back within 3. And you're thinking, you've got 12, you've got 13, you've got 15, you've got 16, all can cause problems, right? So you've got yourself within 3. Just stick it to the green, get out of here with a par, and keep yourself in the game. And I think because of that, right, everyone at home here watching is so deflated. But I think you look at Saturday, low round of the day on Saturday, in the worst conditions of the week, he only gets there with his game style. He tried things on Saturday that other people weren't willing to try in those conditions, and with the course starting to dry out. So, like, he put himself back in a position to win by switch off when he thinks, oh shit, the moment calls for a bit of calm here. He is one pace, right? And I think that we have to collectively, as a golf fandom back here, it's going to bring some wonderful moments for him in the years to come, and some truly bitterly disappointing moments. But for however disappointed we are, no one's more disappointed than him.
No, you're absolutely right. And I think, I think my point is that there are times to be aggressive and play the way that he plays, and he shouldn't stop ever. He should never stop doing that. But what he needs to do, like looking at it from afar, is have some level of maturity about it to go, this isn't the right play to attack a pin that was 3 on 3, like 3 and 3 on 12, and just bail out to the center, because Scottie Scheffler put his long into the flowers at the back, right? So it could have easily turned a couple of shot swings around, and that's absolutely not where he lost the tournament. To your point, there were plenty of other holes, and 12 just kind of exacerbated it. I thought there was some pretty lazy is not the right word, and I know that he said he was unlucky with his bogeys on the front, but I don't know, it's really disappointing, I think. But what it has reaffirmed to me, and it's a silly but very obvious comment, is that he is our best golfer that we have right now, right? We've always spoken about the big four: Scotty, Leash, Cam Smith, and Jason Day, and he is so far ahead of that pack right now. I think still, even maybe up until 3-4 months ago, I still probably had Leash at the head of that pack, maybe just. But now it's a long way ahead, Cam Smith, and he's going to be a force to be reckoned with on the tour. I was actually having this conversation with someone the other day, on Saturday night, Friday night, and I said, like, I find Cam Smith a really imposing person, right? Like, if you would have Scottie Scheffler and Cam Smith in the final group today, where it was neck and neck, I would probably almost back Cam Smith, because he has this kind of fuck you aura about him, whereas Scottie Scheffler just seems like this big teddy bear, right? Like, I don't know. It was a weird thing for me to kind of process in my head, but he seems like a really imposing figure in golf, and I can't quite put my finger on why that is.
I think there's an element of how free he seems to be, and that's scary, right? Like, you come up against a guy who truly doesn't seem phased by all that much. He stays level irrespective of his output on the golf course. And to the great majority of guys around him, again on the tour, who live, breathe, eat golf, are so invested, get emotional. A guy who doesn't change irrespective of the outcome. I imagine that's a little daunting, because you rely, today in many respects. I mean, he obviously didn't end up finishing second, but in many respects, given where it was at, it felt like match play. It felt like 18 holes of match play, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
In those situations, you rely on anything, particularly your game, but your aura to have some sort of advantage over the guy you're playing against. And when that guy doesn't seem phased by much, the irony is, if there's anyone else like him, it's Scheffler. And I think I said that, after day 3, is that was always going to be an engrossing final group, because it's a juxtaposition of everything that comes with the final round and the final group of the Masters, the expectations, the pressure, the platform of becoming a Masters champion, juxtaposed against the two guys who seem like they could care less. Not that it doesn't matter to them, but it doesn't define them as it would others, Yeah. So, yeah, I think that's a big part of the reason why he's got an aura about him. I agree with you. I think for me, it probably dates back a little bit further. I think probably since he went on that run in Hawaii at the front end of last year, he's probably started to separate himself from the pack of male golfers, at least. I mean, Minjee Lee's a top 5 player in the world and a major winner, so it's hard to say that Cam's out and out the best Australian golfer, but I think he comfortably sits in front of that male pack and has for some time. I just want to say one more thing. His caddy, Pinner. So I think I said you could see it 13, 14, and probably leaking a little bit into 15. It's as emotional as I've seen Cam on a golf course. He was pissed off, I think. He was really, really upset at himself. He knew, as I said, he knew it was over when he put the ball in the water at 12. And he started, the rails started coming off a bit. The drive on 13 leaked well all right into the pine straws. And he was just getting a little bit wavered. And by the time he got to 18, he was smiling. He's having a laugh, smile on his face. And that doesn't just happen, right? That comes down to a guy who also walks with you and takes every step with you and is as bitterly disappointed as you are, but has the presence of mind to bring you back into the moment. It's not going to happen this year, but you're still playing in the final group. You've still, finished in the top 5 for the 3rd time in 5 starts in your career in the biggest tournament of the year. And I think that it would have been hard, right? Because you watch that broadcast, there is no lonelier walk in golf than the guy who comes second at the Masters. Everyone just piles in behind Scheffler. Couldn't even see Cam Smith out the back, right? When Scheffler's making the walk to the clubhouse. That's a lonely, lonely walk. But from where he was on 15, to have the turnaround of perspective, to walk up 18 with a smile on his face and having a laugh, that's not just him. That's the guy next to him. And I think Pinner deserves a lot of credit. And he gets plenty of it because he's a great caddy. But that was important, right? Because if he leaves there bitter and he leaves there with a real sour taste in his mouth, that might take a little while to get over. But it seemed like in the space of kind of 3 holes, with a little bit of help, I'm sure, from his good mate, that he thought, you know what, it's not the worst thing in the world. Yeah, I put myself in a position I failed, sure. But what I'm coming out of this with is not, it'll never get done. More, it's inevitable because of how fucking well I played. And I think Pinner deserves a massive pat on the back for that.
I thought it was classy too. They, and I'm sure every playing partner does this when their opponent's about to walk up and win the Masters. But there was a great view of Cam Smith hanging back about 50 meters or so, and really just allowing Scottie Scheffler and his caddy the moment the walk into 18. I thought that was real classy from Cam Smith. I'm sure everyone does it, but it just kind of, I've never really seen it on the broadcast before.
Well, we don't get the benefit of seeing it right on the broadcast. Yeah. So I thought that was, and we've had some really nice moments. You go back to Shota Hayafuji, Hideki's caddy from last year. It was a beautiful moment, and that was, again, to your point, to hang back and just let Scheffler have his moment. Again, in the moment where you're so bitterly disappointed is unsurprising, but really classy from Cam and from Pinner.
Scottie Scheffler?
Unbelievable. Just like, I don't know. I think what I'd like to start by saying is there's been a lot of talk about it took him 45 days, I think, to ascend to world number one after his first win. And we spoke about it, right? Like 70 starts without a win, and he's had 4 wins in 76 starts, including, many people's favourite tournament, his as a child. A lot of people, the default when he got to world number one was to question the system that allows it, right? To question the system that allows an accumulation of top tens and then 3 wins to jolt you to the top of the list. And I don't think that I was as ardent at that end, but I too, we've made no bones about the fact that we think the OWGR is easily manipulated. I look for moments like that. I look for, okay, you've won some big tournaments, right? Phoenix is hard to go and win in the context, and he's rattled off a couple of other great ones in the time since. But he came in here easily in the best form in the world, but relatively anonymous, really. And to play the way that he did over 4 days, to play the way that he did today when pressured, 2 birdies in the first 2 holes from Cam, pressure's on, goes to 3, chips in. Unbelievable shot. He was staring down the barrel of a bogey. Unbelievable shot. He's a special player. Really special player. And there should be no doubts now. It's one thing to go off and do it on the PGA Tour. Sure, it's hard, especially 3 times in a year, but to then turn up at the Masters and do it in pretty convincing fashion, say for a 4 putt on the 72nd hole. He's a special player, Scottie Scheffler.
It is quite phenomenal. I mean, you look at his strokes gained across everything, and he ranks inside the top 15 across all categories. And if there's any part of his game that was probably lacking across the tournament, it was the one that we always refer to, and that's strokes gained approach. That was his statistical worst category in terms of strokes gained. But he was still gaining strokes on the field. I should add there. So I don't know. It's actually phenomenal, the run that he's been on, and this is going to keep him at world number one for a long spot. And I think he absolutely deserves it. There are people, to your point, talking about the manipulation of how it works. But I think we also said in our preview that there was no value in betting on Scottie Scheffler if that's what you were so inclined to do. And I still probably stand by that, because it's, to get $10 or something for one player out of a field of 90 or whatever it is tough, right? So I think, he did. He came in with a level of you've been good for 6 weeks. That's what you've been good for, right? And it's just disregarded the previous 18 months of hard work and still decent finishes, right?
Terribly disrespectful to say you've been good.
Yeah. And I think, but golf is like that too, right? We cast our minds back to 2020, and DJ went on a tear and ended up at world number one and won the Masters, won the Tour Championship, all of that sort of stuff, and just went on an absolute tear. But I think it is almost the accumulation of the 2 years, 18 months of work kind of leading to a point. We talk about athletes peaking, right? And footy teams peaking for finals. This is the finals. And I don't think golfers really care. If the 6-week patch includes the Masters or the PGA Championship or any of the majors, to win a major is the most important thing. And I was kind of, and again, this conversation I was having on Friday, I was like, Bruce Koepka gets so much shit for saying, oh, well, he doesn't play on the PGA Tour, he only peaks for the majors. Well, why the fuck would you not? If you do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
If you have the natural ability and the talent and that work ethic to peak for 4 tournaments a year while playing 10 others and earning the same amount, if not more, than someone who plays 40 events, why would you not? Work smarter, not harder.
100%. And I think like he's in a. I mean, and I said he went in with relative anonymity. To be fair, everyone did, right? Like Tiger took all of the attention heading in. But
I think there was a lot of like Cam Smith, this is his time. Like everyone, like we had, and this is going off a very small tangent, we had one entry in our comp for Scottie Scheffler, and the winner went over. So it jackpots to the next major.
Well, I was going to raise it with you, but yeah, sure. We'll get to that.
I'm happy to give it away if we want to, because it's a good pick. But do you know what I mean? Like, I think it was very much a Cam Smith, it's Rory's time, or Victor Hovland, or Colin, or whoever it was going to be. It was this like so much love for other people. I agree with you to what your point is about Tiger, by the way.
But it's like you can't see what's in front of your face.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's because I think like Tiger's back, and that takes 95% of the attention and the coverage, and we've got 5% left to allocate. Now we allocate probably 3% of that to the guys we always say, geez, the course sets up well for Rahm. Spieth is elite here. Rory does this to complete the slam. It's got to be his time. Justin Thomas is due. The guy plays such good irons. Like we always go back to the same, irrespective of form. When we get to Augusta, it always seems like we go back to the same people, right? And we couldn't see what was, flatly in front of our face. This guy, OWGR, the Sagarin rankings, no matter what you fucking look at, he's the best player playing golf right now in the men's game. And I don't know. It's in many respects, I think that probably helped him this week, that he went in with no expectations. He spoke really well afterwards. He is I think fair to describe, a man of faith, would be fair to describe it. And I think it was Kyle Porter, whose name I've mentioned many times before, asked him a question about how does he balance being a competitive individual and not letting the outcome define him. And he said, golf is a part of, paraphrasing, golf is a part of who I am, but it is not who I am. And I knew that win, lose, or otherwise today, that I'd be disappointed, but I walk away and it's not the end of the world. There's an element of him being able to separate himself from the outcome that I think helps him in a big way. I want to rattle off some stats to you, just for
something different.
Yeah, just to try and find a neat illustration. Players to win the Masters at world number 1. Ian Woosnam, 91. Fred Couples, 92. Tiger Woods, 2001. Tiger Woods, 2002. Dustin Johnson, 2020. Scottie Scheffler, 2022. So fair group that he joins there. How's this for a stat? Players to win 4 times in a PGA Tour season, including a major and a World Golf Championship event. Tiger Woods, 99, Tiger Woods, 2000, Tiger Woods, 2001, Tiger Woods, 2002, Tiger Woods, 2005, Tiger Woods, 2006, Tiger Woods, 2007, Tiger Woods, 2008, Scottie Scheffler, 2022.
Pretty cool.
And then just finally, this one I thought was unreal, because we've talked about a couple of modern day greats. This draws a comparison between him and one of the greats of all time. Last 2 players to leave the Masters with 4 PGA Tour wins in that season, including the Masters. Scottie Scheffler, 2022. Arnold Palmer, 1960.
Pretty cool.
So he has ever so quietly gone about and etched his name into history. Last year, we squabbled over, like, who's the player of the year. There are a number of people popping up. I think it went to Cantlay in the end because he'd won 3 tournaments, and it felt a little underwhelming. The guy's won 4 tournaments, including the Masters, and we have acres of space to go. We have 3 majors to go, and it is without question who is the player of the season now.
I was going to ask you the question. What happens if someone comes out and wins 5 tournaments between now and the end of the year?
Unless any of them are a major, it's not. Yeah,
it'd be a fun debate to have.
Doesn't come into consideration. One more thing on Scotty. We talked about in our preview show, we'll get to our picks, but you picked Justin Thomas, and I said that he was in the conversation for me. And one of the things that I raised was the fact that he had bones on the bat. Obviously, Phil Mickelson's old caddy, a guy that had been around that golf course an awful lot, and not to underestimate that. We didn't mention, and that's mainly because we didn't mention Scottie Scheffler all that much in the preview show. We didn't mention Ted Scott, who was on Scheffler's bag, who also happened to be on Bubba Watson's bag, the 2 times Bubba Watson won at Augusta National. So a fair bit of IP, a fair bit of institutional knowledge himself. I thought it was significant, and not in any means as a criticism to Bubba, but I thought it was significant that Ted Scott was asked about it afterwards, and he said, I've had 145 wins in my career carrying the bag, and that's comfortably the most significant that I've witnessed. And I don't think that is in any way, shape, or form meant as a criticism to Bubba Watson. I just think it's a measure of who and how he values Scheffler and then who he thinks he is. And yeah, we could go down a rabbit hole and get lost about what he's going to go on and do. I think it's important that we appreciate what he has done, and it's something that very few have done in such a short space of time in the history of professional golf.
I don't have the number in front of me, but I don't think Ted Scott's been on the bag overly long for Scottie Scheffler.
No,
have you? You know the number of the money.
Yeah,
if you can find that.
Scottie Scheffler, as a PGA Tour pro before Ted Scott on the bag, 62 starts, $8.56 million earned. Since Ted Scott, 9 starts, $9.04 million earned.
I'll tell you, the big winner out of all of this is Ted Scott.
Yeah,
the bloke's had an absolute field day.
Yeah.
I don't know what percentage he's taken, but he's had an absolute field day out of 9 starts.
Even at 5%, it's a decent clip,
isn't it?
It's decent clip.
Who do you want to talk about next?
I think we have to talk about Rory.
Yeah.
I had a text message from a mate, and I'll shout him out. Sam Figg. He's a loyal listener of this podcast. He texted me. Figgy Smalls, one of the great Instagram handles. He texted me. I think it was still in the front 9, so he hadn't kind of gone on the back 9 run. I wish Rory would learn to play golf for 4 days. Was the text, and I sent back to him, no safer bet than Sunday backdoor rules. And I mean, just a casual lowest round at Augusta in his career, equaled the lowest Sunday round in Augusta National history. And I think that puts him 1 or 2 off the course record. I think the course record 63. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's probably a window, I reckon. Let me just pull up his. He missed. He had birdie putts on 16 and 17, which is remarkable, right? Like, he could have been 62. He could have broken the course record. And there was a window. Was the eagle at 13 or 15?
13.
Yeah. So off the back of that, I thought there could be something here, right? And obviously you don't know, because you don't know the 4 putts coming on 18. There's nothing to say that if he knew Rory was that close, the 4 putt does come. But there was a window of probably 5 minutes where it was like, are we about to see one of the more remarkable things we've ever seen in this tournament, in the context of a guy who's never won it, and it's the one thing that hangs over his head. Yeah, it's crazy. The broadcast butchered it, absolutely butchered it. And I know it's hard because you've got a final group. There's still a lot going on, but we were hearing, I don't know if you saw this, but you could hear, because you can, right? The noise travels at Augusta. You could hear the roars. At one stage, the score in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen updated before you'd seen, I think it was the eagle. I think they showed the approach shot. The score graphic updated, and then they went back and showed the putt.
Yeah. Happens all the time.
Faldo at one point said, I don't want to spoil anything, but something amazing has just happened. And then I think they went back. That was the bunker shot on 18. Like, it was a historic run, and it was completely butchered on the coverage. But yeah, I don't know, man. It was completely unsurprising, but at the same time, it was him on 18. Like he said it in the interview after, it's the most fun he's ever had in a golf course. That was nice to see. It was actually really quite a nice moment to watch how much he enjoyed himself in that moment. Yeah.
It was an incredible bunker shot, by the way, and an incredible sequence of events for Colin Morikawa to then do exactly the same.
Yeah.
And he was genuinely happy. I mean, it is, there are so many people. I was texting back and forth with friends, and it's like, it is so frustrating though. Like it's we can't take away from it because ultimately, on face value, and I really don't want to sound like the pessimist here, but I'll play devil's advocate. The guy played one good round of golf. That's it. On the flip side of the coin, the guy played one good round of golf. He goes out and
One of the great things.
shoots even par, right, on two holes. In two rounds, the first two rounds, where he's only losing by one shot. And I'm not saying that things change then, but a one shot margin is a little different because, than a 5-shot margin than what he was going in with, Scottie Scheffler. So I think, I don't know, it's frustrating, but for me, it kind of lights a bit of fire under Rory as well. Or it lights a bit of fire internally for me to see, he's still got that electric nature about him. And I don't think that we ever doubted that it went away, but there are clearly issues there that he needs to sort out. He is putting himself out of contention in the first and second rounds of golf tournaments. It's as simple as that, right?
It's funny, right? Because you and I were texting. He didn't actually really eject himself on Thursday. What was Friday? It was a better score than I was expecting from him in the first round, particularly at Augusta. So it came in kind of rounds 2 or 3 where he put himself out of contention. I don't know. I think we said it after the Ryder Cup. Where he went out. It was Morikawa who he beat in the Sunday singles in the Ryder Cup.
Yeah.
And that the emotion that he showed and it kind of freed him up. And we talked about it in the previous show. He's been playing without having had a win. He's actually been playing a lot better golf in the last 6 to 8 months leading in. But again, it's he plays it when there is no expectation. He plays a brand of golf that few can match.
Yeah.
It's when there is, right? It's when the pressure's on that I don't know. I don't know that he'll ever be. I'm not sure that he'll ever be able to conquer that at that course because he's got to get through the first 2 rounds and still be within touch, right? And then still, he'll be in contention, and that's when the pressure's on. So that's not when he plays his best golf at the moment, particularly there. But yeah, I don't know. It was reinforced the conversation you and I've had many, many times that there's a handful of guys that truly, to flog a completely overused term, shift the needle, and he is one of them. He remains one of them because the noise that reverberated around Augusta as that started to take shape, particularly on the back 9, particularly on 13, was incredible.
He almost seems like the ultimate confidence player, right?
Yeah. That's fair.
I don't know if that's, I'm looking at his scorecard, right, for the first 3 days. So first day, he's 1 under through 3, and you think, okay, well, maybe we can go. Then he gives an easy bogey back on 6. Next day, birdies 2 again, easy bogey back on number 5. Third day, starts with a bogey. And then today goes birdie, par, birdie to start. And you're like, right, it's a little bit different now. Things, he seems different. He's got a bit of pep in his step. And maybe it was the fact that he was so far behind. It was kind of fuck it, doesn't really matter if I go out and shoot 5 over as opposed to if I go out and shoot 8 under, 7 under or whatever he shot, right? So I just think I don't know what someone's got to do to him in the first round, but he's just got to find a level of confidence to get up and about for rounds 1 and 2 because it's an issue. It's a long-standing issue. It's not something that we're like, hey, this is becoming a trend. It's something that everyone knows.
Yeah, I think I don't know. It's there's a large part of me that would like to see him win that tournament.
100%.
And a large part of me would just like to see him back winning. So I hope that he is. I hope that he's as buoyed, if not more, from that than what he was coming out of the back of the Ryder Cup. And it lights a bit of a flame, and he understands that he's still one of the best players in the world, and he still competes in the 4 biggest tournaments of the year. I mean, also two more brief things on him. One segues into the next. I'll put my hand up and issue an unreserved apology to all those people who I laughed at, who tipped him. Because I had a good chuckle at the fact that he was getting way more tips than he should or deserved to in our competition. I feel a little vindicated because it was classic. It was, if the competition was who'll go the closest without winning, then I would think all of the entries should be Rory. But yeah, I probably took a little bit too much umbrage and pleasure out of that last week, so I apologise for that. Secondly, considering the stage, I don't know that there are many. I don't know that we saw many better pairings or groups across the entire week than him and Morikawa at Augusta. That
it was cool.
Was awesome, and credit to Morikawa. Buckley said a bit too. Like obviously Rory finished in second, Morikawa finishes in fifth, and finishes really strongly with a 67 today. Yeah, that was a really cool group. And there's obviously a little bit of a mutual respect and love there between the two of them. They get along quite well, so that was good, really good to see.
Who do you want to talk about next? Because I've probably really only got one player that I want to talk about in depth, and then there's just little bits and pieces on others, and obviously our tips.
Well, you lead because I don't think mine will be the same, and there's probably only then me. I've got a handful as well, so you lead with your next.
The only one that I really want to flag out of the rest of it is Tiger.
Well, we are aligned, so let's go there.
All right, you start. I
reflected. I in my day 3 takes, I essentially said I call for him to withdraw.
You did,
which felt probably a little emotionally irrational in hindsight. He obviously, I don't think, was truly ever in contention, and we all got very carried away beforehand. I hope that when we look back at this, we never, ever take into consideration where he finished and only what he managed to achieve in the 4 days. I can't understate how stupid it is that he was in the top 10 after the opening round.
Yeah.
That is absurd, and then to go on and walk that course for 4 days, to walk it today after, there was some moments of true pain you could see on his face. He did not look good walking up and down hills.
No,
truly, it looked quite bad to the point where that's what I said. I was like, he owes us nothing. What are we doing? Just don't come tomorrow. It's fine. No one's going to think less of you. In the context of fucking Louis Oosthuizen and Paul fucking Casey, the guy's on one leg and these two have withdrawn with a bit of back pain. So yeah, it was remarkable, and I hope in the passage of time, we will look back on this as one of the more exceptional physical achievements that the game's ever seen.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think, I mean, I don't know. I can't even remember what day it was when we were texting back and forth. And I said to you, match fitness is key. I'm reading this verbatim. Match fitness is key. He's not played 4 rounds of golf in a row for nearly 2 years. I genuinely think he'll come out and play well on the first day, shoot a couple under, and everyone will be up and about. Second day, even par to make the cut, then fade on the weekend. It's a taxing course on the body, and there's no doubt he's going in under prepped. It couldn't have been more easily scripted, right? It was never going to happen that he was going to ever be in contention. The 1 under was quite phenomenal. He was absolutely shattered by the end of it. And then I saw, obviously he's playing, he announced that he's going to play the Open Championship, and people are starting to talk about him potentially winning the Open and what a great story it'd be at the 150th Open Championship at St. Andrews. And it would be one of it would be the greatest sports story, probably. Period. Right?
Probably.
But people pretty quickly forget how fucking cold it is in July in Scotland, right? This is a guy who's I don't reckon he's going to play another tournament between now and then. He might play one in there. He's going to go in so under-prepped. It's going to be freezing cold. His body's going to be rooted. I think, yeah, the appreciation needs to be purely on hey, this is pretty cool that he's playing again. And I'll tell you what it does do is, I remember at the time, I pretty much only went to the President's Cup to see Tiger play. And I think looking back on it, I'm really glad I made that decision to go and see Tiger live once in my life. And granted, because there's so many people there and the way that the tournament works, you don't really get to see him hit a huge amount of shots. But just to say that you've seen Tiger live is it's cool, right? It's
Yeah.
like, so I don't know. I'm with you. I think that it was a phenomenal achievement. He made some great birdies, particularly a
Was it-
couple on the back nine that I thought stood out as well. So, he birdied 13 on 3 out of the 4 days. So yeah, it was special. It was a special few days.
When was it that he birdied 16, the big putt, and he did the big fist pump in the point? I think it might have been Friday.
Round one. Yeah, round one.
Was it round one? Was it round one? Yeah. So, look, mate, I think if we just approach every time he plays in the mindset that it might be the last time we see it, then you will probably appreciate it accordingly. And that's how you should appreciate it. Because I'm sure that he'll play. I mean, he obviously announced it's his favourite course in the world. He wouldn't miss it. I'm certain that he won't play again between now and then. He doesn't need to play. He hasn't lost the golf.
No.
He just has metal in his back and his leg. The undulation and the hilly nature of Augusta didn't help, nor did the cold. It was unseasonably cold for April in Georgia, particularly for day 3. So yeah, it's probably similar weather, maybe a bit warmer, and sure, St Andrews is a bit flatter. Do I think he win? No, I actually think we saw our winner at St Andrews, which I'll get to in a minute. But we just need to look at it every time that he plays. We might never see it again, and that's how you should approach watching. What is undoubtedly the best to ever do it. So,
what do you want to do now? Picks or just random spatterings of players? Because there's also some random shit that we've probably got to talk about at the end as well.
Let's race through our picks.
Okay.
So, I mean, I don't know if we need to spend too long on these because they weren't great.
Shock.
You said JT.
I got some words here.
What you were pretty out on for a period of time. I mean, look, to be honest, he's finished pretty well. Where's he finished in tie for 8?
Don't care.
So where'd he go? 60. I mean, obviously day 1 was bad. 67 and then even par Saturday, Sunday. So actually played all right at the back end without threatening. But yeah, 4 over 76 on the first day was bad.
He should have withdrawn after day 1.
Yeah,
just hand your card in for the day. Like, save yourself. He's an embarrassment. I am so done with Justin Thomas, mate. I've got nothing left to give on him. I've sat here and defended him probably when you've said, either get shit or get off the pot. And I'm like, no, he's playing all right. I'm done. I can't do it anymore. Like, he's a joke. He's an absolute joke. 4 over to come out 4 over. And then literally I put it in my day 1 takes. Watch him shoot 66 tomorrow. Lo and behold, goes and does it. Like, that round the next day was phenomenal golf. And for everything statistically leading in for him to line up and deliver that on day 1 and then shoot even par with bones on the bag, him being in arguably career best form, it's not good enough. I'm done. I've got nothing else to say. I'm over it. Get in the bin.
I still think he's going to win more majors, and I think he still might win there. I thought, I think 76 was woeful, and he was out of the tournament from the start. We actually said, I think the key to him winning is not putting himself too far back, because he'll play well. Like, he'll get himself back in the tournament, but he just needs to not get too far back, and he ultimately was too far back. It didn't get within, I think it was 9 shots back he was in the end, so it wasn't never really a threat, but he still finishes in the top 10, still sews up his spot for next year.
It's an inflated top 10, though. It's only one round.
It's interesting. I think I did like his he had a tribute today to Arnold Palmer, so he wore his outfit today, which I think was copping a little bit of flack with the pants, but it was
sick.
Yeah, it was a replica of an outfit that Arnie wore at Augusta, so I thought it was pretty cool. You said Smithy you wanted to win, so we've covered that in great deal and heartbreaking. You said your roughie was Paul Casey, who withdrew.
Scratch behind the gates.
Which, like, can we address quickly by saying what a complete fucking asshole? Honestly,
it's a disgrace.
You've withdrawn each of your rounds at the match play 2 weeks ago, and you've just turned up to the tee to collect your check. You know you are not going. You've got guys who, first, second, third alternates who would give a nut. Richard Bland, his countryman, was on the edge. Ended up getting, I think, 49th, 48th in the world the week of the Masters, but it was too late. And he turns up there knowing full well he's not going to play and withdraws. Like, that's such a dick move.
It's a disgrace. It's a disgrace.
And then who did you say was your roughie?
No,
he was your roughie.
Yeah.
He was roughie. Who wasn't going to win?
Colin Morikawa. So I got that one half
good.
right.
That's pretty good. Outright fifth. That's close. That's exactly where you want to be. So you got that bang on. So I said that Cam Smith would win. Ultimately, again, covered in great detail, and I was pretty fucking flat. I wanted Pat Cantlay to win.
Bad.
Whoa. But he wasn't as bad as the guy that I said, no, I should pick Cantlay because I always pick Jordan Spieth for every major, who ranked stone motherless last for strokes gained approaching the field on the second round and missed the cut. I honestly, I have no words. I said that I didn't think he was a chance to contend, and I got some major concerns about the work he's doing on his swing, and I reiterate all of those words because that guy at periods in his career has owned that course like a few others, and to not play the weekend is inexcusable. So that's what I'll say on Jordan. My roughie was Joaquin Niemann, who I was feeling really good about through the first couple of rounds, and then he went out the back door. I'm just seeing where he finished. I'm still scrolling down.
T35.
T35. So he started 69. So he started 3 under. I think he might have been in the top 5.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
First day. And I was like, here we go. And then 74, 77, 74. So struggled. And then wouldn't win was Rahm, which was, Johnny was bad. I think the best thing John did, I don't know if you saw this, was the answer he gave in the press conference before the first. Did you see this?
Yeah.
So for the benefit of who haven't seen it, someone asked him how good it was to have Tiger back, and if he got any tips off him, and he essentially was like, "There's only one guy out here who gets tips. You're better off asking Justin Thomas." He said, "I asked him. I think it was the players." He said he asked him a couple of years ago what it's like to putt on Bermuda, and if he had any tips, and Tiger just looked at him and was like, "It's all in the hands," and then walked away. And then he said something about chipping into the grain at Augusta, and Tiger said, it's just feel, and looked away. And he looked back, and he was having a chat to JT for 15 minutes about chipping. So the other was good. I think he used the word dissertation, which is hilarious in his Spanish accent. Rahm was bad. That was the best thing he did this week, was a joke in the pre-round presser. So that probably tells you something about his rounds. Finished well back. So that's our picks. They were on brand. Woeful. Tidbits.
Yeah.
So I just want to briefly say, I said that I think we saw the Open Championship winner in the field this week. I'm going to get out ahead of this early. My tip, I'm going to lock it in now. So we can tell our wonderful design team at Design to start populating the graphic. Shane Lowry is going to win his second Open Championship at the old course at the St Andrews later this year. He had no right to play the way that he did at Augusta, especially when the fucking sun came out. Like, shock horror, third round, cold, windy, shitty conditions. Who rockets up the leaderboard? Shane Lowry.
Yep. And
today, it wasn't great, but he's still on, what's he finished? T3? Finishes with Cam?
Yeah.
So, like, a no right when the conditions got good to stay there and worked his ass off. You get him back. You get him back on home soil, home game. Shut the gate. I'm telling you right now, Shane Lowry is winning the Open Championship.
Okay.
11th of April.
Okay. Shane Lowry is a good one. That's a brave tip to lock in a few months ahead of time. I am having significant concerns that Will Zalatoris is going to win a Masters in the next couple of years. I am concerned because I don't know. I can't get on board with it. The putting stroke scares me, and I can't get on board with it. And that's a very much a me issue to deal with. Corey Connors inadvertently loves Augusta National.
Is it 3 top 10s in his first 3 starts?
Correct. Had an ace last year as well, if you recall. Was very good today. Bodes well for the international team, President's Cup. And the last one that I just wanted to call out was Sungjae Im. His swing is different. Like it is. Remember a few years ago, it was very pronounced, slow back, and then just ripped forward. Now it's just a touch quicker. I don't think it's much, but it's just a touch, and it was really noticeable on a few holes today. 18 was he hit a shot sort of in the bunk, just short of the bunker on the right hand side, and it was real noticeable. So I don't know. They're just a couple of little ones, and Minwoo Lee finishing T14 as well.
So I want to go through the Aussies in a minute.
Yep.
But yeah, I agree. I think I put in my day one reflections that the international team was looking pretty good. You know, at that stage we had Smith, Im, Connors, Neiman. I think we had 4 on the top 7. And I was like, the boys are on here.
Yeah.
Obviously, we got a little bit carried away and some people faded, but yeah, I agree. Connors loves that course. And Sungjae, we've said it a few times, like Sungjae's actually been in some pretty decent form, to be fair, of late. Not quite back to where he was like 2019, 2018, but on the right trajectory. And he hit the ball really well. He himself is, I mean, he was T2 with Cam in that Dustin Johnson year.
Yeah.
So he likes that course, really likes that course, and he's a phenomenal iron player. Did you see his dad?
No.
On the par 3? So his dad carried the sticks for him.
Sungjae's dad.
Yeah. On the par 3 contest.
Yeah, so good.
I don't think I've ever seen a worse swing go that close. So obviously for people who aren't as fucking invested as we are and watch everything to do with the Masters, it gets derided, but the par 3 I really like. I really like seeing the players with their families, whether it's their partners or their kids. Like Tommy Fleetwood's little boy, that was unreal. In the par 3 contest. But so Sungjae's dad was obviously carrying the sticks for him. And it's tradition on the 9th hole of the par 3 course that your caddy takes a shot for you. It's a forced carry over water. And yeah, Sungjae's dad, I can't remember who was playing with Sungjae, but they honestly, I don't even think they were looking at the shot because all they could see was his swing, and the group was in fits of laughter watching the swing. And anyway, it goes the 110 odd yards, forced carry over water, and sticks it to 5 foot. It was phenomenal. So there's that. Should we go to the Aussies briefly? So you mentioned Minwoo. Minwoo was in the top 5 for about 5 minutes for a period of time today. And that was courtesy of equaling the course record for the first 9. I think he's 29, was he, or 30?
20, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 under. So whatever that is, 30.
30.
Yeah.
So he equaled the course record for the front 9 today. Faded a little bit. I think he had maybe 4 bogeys on the back 9.
5.
There you go, 5.
So went 4 birdies in a row to finish the front 9. Started the back 9 with 4 bogeys.
Yeah. So ended up in a tie for 14, which is unfortunate because obviously top 12 in ties straight back in next year, and there's some absolutely wasted invitations there. Charles Schwartzel, he gets back anyway. Danny Willett gets back anyway. Like, fuck. I think guys like Minwoo just missed out. Harry Higgs just missed out an automatic invitation. Given the way Minwoo,
Cameron Champ got one though. That's right.
Yeah, that's good. I don't mind that.
Are you being serious?
I don't want that. I was like, you got to play well to finish T10 at the Masters. Or you got to finish well to play 10 at the Masters. You deserve it. I think it should be top 12 in ties, unless otherwise exempt.
But why is it top 12? Like, what a random number.
Yeah, I don't know. But the fact that like Danny Willett and Charles take up 2 spots, and that's a joke. It should be top 12 in ties unless otherwise exempt. Because
the top 15 players.
There you go.
Unless otherwise exempt. I don't know. Anyway, push on.
What I was going to say was, given the way Min was playing, I don't think he'll need to rely on that. I would suggest he'll be comfortably inside the top 50 in the world come invitation time next year. In terms of the other Aussies, we mentioned Scottie, not good. But I don't necessarily think the course is always good for him. The conditions were bad for him. He doesn't play well, particularly in those conditions. Say for that one year, he had a fantastic run at the Open. Is that 2012?
Yeah. Yes.
The year
maybe?
before.
Haven't got
It was
in front of
because it was the year before, because everyone talked about the bit of disappointment. Could he ever get back? And he wins the Masters in 2013. So it was 2012 Open Championship. Leash was good in patches. Again, always plays well on that course. Never truly threatened in any way, great shape or form, but solid. The one I want to mention is Cam Davis.
me.
So birdies 4 of his last 6 in his second round to make the cut on the number. And he had some really tough patches on that course this week. Like, it took him for a ride. But he was talking to Gowie on the Fox coverage. What a gig for Gowie, by the way.
Yeah.
He was talking to Gowie in the Fox coverage, and he said, yeah, it's been tough, but I mean, shit, I get to play this course for another 2 days. I get to play the weekend at Augusta, and that's something I've dreamt about for my entire life. So I just thought that was awesome. Like, his back was up against the wall, and to go out with 4 of your last 6 as birdies, a lot of appreciation. And then obviously the other Aussie was Lucas Herbert, who didn't make the weekend, unfortunately. So, I mean, we all would have been forgiven and forgotten had we won. But not the worst. Min Woo to finish T14 in his Masters debut is a really fucking good effort,
Isn't it?
Yeah.
I've got two things. The traditional jacket changeover in Butler Cabin needs to be scrapped. It's awkward. It is clumsy. We've got like the TV host, changes.
Jim.
So you've got Jim this year. Like, he asked a couple of questions of Frank Ridley. Then Frank Ridley asked us questions of
Frank or Fred?
Fred Ridley, sorry. Yeah, Fred Ridley. He asked some questions of Scottie Scheffler, and then Scottie Scheffler's kind of like interacting with Jim, and then it's like, okay, Hideki, we're going to ask you to put the jacket on, and then it's just like, how does someone put a jacket on someone else? I feel like that's a very...
Well, do you know, I thought Hideki was unfairly copping a lot of heat here.
Oh, it wasn't his fault.
I don't know if anyone saw the way Scheffler was putting on that vest on Sunday our time, Saturday American time.
Had trouble.
God, that was awkward. That was like, and he was. I don't understand why everyone's just wearing it. I don't know why we're taking it off anyway. Let's not get into that. But yeah, I think that was more Scheffler than it was Hideki. But yeah, look, it's clunky. It certainly is clunky. I don't think it produces the best. I actually think that the best moments are back out on the green, right, afterwards. But that's a tradition that will never. It is as they say, a tradition unlike any other, my friend, and that was a part of the tradition that will never be forsaken. Couple of quick ones.
Yep.
Do we need to talk about? We didn't talk about it because I didn't want it to shade his win. Do we need to talk about the relief that Scheffler got? 18 on Saturday, buries his ball into the shrubs on the left-hand side and remarkably gets a free swing to put it on the green. Very generous to clubs. And then that was, look, he had a rules official there that talked him through the whole thing, so hard to find fault in that. The one today to get relief, which was essentially TIO, temporarily immovable object relief, from behind the scoreboard on 3. That scoreboard is a permanent structure. It's not a temporary immovable object. It's there all the fucking time. They don't just pick it up out of the ground and chuck it in a shipping container out the back. It's I can't understand. I can't understand how he gets relief. Now, obviously, it doesn't change the tournament because he still has a remark, but like, there's just little things, all right? There's little things that you say there's an issue. Like, this is not the way golf's meant to be played. Golf is not meant to be easy outs and safety nets and, can I just get you to come and have a look at this? Like, I don't know, that the one today in particular didn't sit well with me.
No. TIO is not a new issue that we've raised. Like,
But
this has been going on for a long time.
100%. But grandstand short, that's a permanent structure. I don't understand.
No.
Like that, they pack down a lot of stuff after that. They don't like that's. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, let's not get bogged down in that. Another quick one from me. I don't know if you caught this. A little bit of humour from Tiger after the round today, and humour's. We get a lot of things from the greatest player to ever do it. Humour's not. He's not known as a funny guy. He's not the cracking gags guy, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know if you saw this, but he got asked about the course and, did it play difficult this week? Because a lot of people seem to struggle. And, he's talking about, obviously, particularly the third round, not only the conditions, but, the course right out of it. And a couple of guys weren't able to control their ball. But he was citing some examples of, good shots being rewarded. And he cited the only hole-in-one for the week, by the way, which was Stuart Sink on the 16th I think it was the opening round. But he goes, a lot of guys out here have seen value for shots. He said, I think, he saw a hole-in-one, Kitchen dropped a hole-in-one. And I
did.
What?
It took me a long time to work out who he was talking about.
I thought it was brilliant.
Exceptional.
Completely unexpected from him. And I think you could see, if you watch it back, just the sides of the mouth, he enjoyed it. He really enjoyed saying it, right? Kitchen Sink, well, unreal. I thought it was really, really good from Eldrick. Really good.
I like that. I've got one for us to do a bit of homework on, right? And I want us to think about it. I don't want us to get into it now.
Okay.
Is Augusta National the second shot golf course that we always build it up to be? Because strokes gained approach versus strokes gained around the green would suggest another story, that having a short game that is elite will get you closer to a victory. If you look at the stats, so according to Data Golf, I'll just rattle them off. So this is the strokes gained around the green ranking for the top. I'll run through to say T8 down to Sungjae Im. 3rd, 1st, 4th, 16th, 8th, 10th, 7th, 11th, 21st, Sungjae Im. Strokes gained approach for the tournament, 6th, 13th, 51st, 2nd, 8th, 40th, 15th, 7th, 23rd. I want us to do some homework on that.
Who ranked first in strokes gained approach for the tournament?
Kevin Na.
Whoa. T14?
T14, but
yeah, he was in with Minwoo and Harry Higgs, I think.
But ranked 43rd putting, 39th around the green, 41st off the tee. So
who was the one you rattled off? Who ranked second? You rattled them off in the top 10. Who ranked second strokes gained approach?
Cam Smith.
There you go.
Yeah.
So look, let's take it away. The only thing I'd flag is sample size. I think if you look at this week, sure, it's overvalued maybe, but that's because a lot of guys were having to get fucking up and down because they weren't holding the greens, right? So it's going to skew. So I'd like to see maybe just look at the last 5 years.
I wonder if that's there somewhere. Data Golf.
I'm sure. Well, Data Golf's an exceptional website. No free ads, but exceptional website. I'm sure they'd be able to do comparative year on year because, I think if we look in this year in isolation, you probably will find that strokes gained approach is overvalued comparatively to around the greens. But I think that the conditions and the course, particularly across the weekend, put guys in positions where they had to get up and down. So
it's interesting. It is an interesting one to look at because I mean, like the 4 guys who finished the top: Scheffler, McIlroy, Lowry, and Smith today. Strokes gained approach: 23rd, 27th, 44th, 29th around the green. 3rd, 1st, 6th, 28th for Cam Smith there. So it's interesting. Yeah. It's an interesting one to look at because, I mean, look, it wasn't at all surprising last year. I mean, it was very surprising, but it wasn't at all surprising when you look at the way that his short game is when Phil won at Kiowa and there were so many guys missing greens and the conditions that are there. And what didn't at all surprise that the guy with one of the best short games that we've ever seen was holding the trophy. So anyway, that's one for us to think about.
I think also maybe some of the changes to the course that we flagged potentially have an effect. Like I know I saw a stat today. So 15, they lengthened 15.
Yeah.
And the justification was too many guys were taking, 8 iron and below into 15 grain. 15 was lengthened. 15 didn't see an eagle across 4 rounds. And I believe, according to this stat, obviously confirm your sources, I believe it's the first time since 1965 there's not been an eagle on 15.
Yeah, that's true.
At a Masters.
Yeah.
So, there's obviously changes affect as well the value that's put on the second shot. on that course. But yeah, good one to take away. I like that because I think I'm still firmly in the camp of it as a second shot course, but I think it's a good one for us to debate. Briefly, I don't think you can like what Tony Finau wore and also not like Victor Hovland's pants on day one. Discuss. I think those two things are mutually. They cannot. I don't think you can be in both camps. Discuss.
Are you saying what Tony Finau wore across the week, or on specifically day one?
Yeah, so I liked his shirts. I like the day one shirt was unreal, but I think the entire, as I said, the entire top to bottom aesthetic on Saturday was unbelievable, and I don't think you can like that.
No, I don't.
But you didn't like Saturday?
No.
Okay.
Look like a fucking traffic warden.
Well, then you both do not like Saturday, Tony, and Thursday, Victor. I don't know.
I don't not like what Victor wore on Thursday. I fucking despise it.
Yeah,
it's atrocious.
You came for it, and you received a lot of support from our listeners, and I want to say I want to go on the record and saying I had no problem with what Victor wore on Thursday.
Of course you didn't.
I thought it was fine. Would I wear it? Probably not. Did I love it? No.
Would you wear it? Yes, you would.
Was I like? Did it give me a visceral reaction? No. I actually thought it was pretty on brand for Victor. To be fair, he's a different cat. So yeah, I just wanted to flag that. I thought I love it. Tony end to end was unreal. We get a lot out of Nike usually at Augusta. They didn't go like berserk this week. I got to say, Scheffler's shirt today was a little disappointing.
Yep.
Like, come for a guy who was going in with a 5-shot lead, like you could have put anything on him, and his shirt today was a little dull.
Yeah,
like,
no, I agree.
His look, I think I said it. His all navy look on Friday, I think it might have been, was unreal. Like, sign me up. But the shirt today for a guy comfortably leading the Masters in the final round, knew that there was going to be a lot of photos on it. It was a bit meh.
I agree. No, Tony Finau's shirt on Thursday was comfortably my favorite. Like, that was sick. I love that. Even Tiger's red today was a bit interesting. Like, it wasn't the traditional plain red shirt. It had a bit of like a pattern in it. And it was like, don't know. Nike kind of missed a couple of boats, I think. But did well.
Very on brand from our friends from Oregon.
Yes, exactly right. No, I've only got one more thing that I want to say about the Masters because I realize we've been going a long time.
Yeah.
Hideki's menu. We obviously didn't get a chance to chat about this because it happened post. I'll just. I mean, we both agree it was awesome. And yeah, I don't know. There's not too much more to say on it. The menu was fantastic. He delivered a 3-minute speech with no notes in English. Yeah, it was just great. It was just awesome. One of the better ones that we've seen, I believe. I saw a TikTok account that was like ranking them all. And Bubba Watson, do you know Bubba Watson delivered the same menu twice?
I think he did, yeah.
Like, that's deplorable from Bubba. But anyway, Hideki's was great. Obviously great to see, him honor his culture and the food of Japan. So just thought that was worth calling out.
I think it's a really good call out. I think you hear the widespread comments from guys that attended the dinner as well, as it being amongst their fondest that they remember. I think it's representative of, I'm sure, the time and effort that he would have invested in the end-to-end concept of what he would serve. I believe his wife works closely with the kitchen at Augusta National, source, make sure the recipes were traditional in nature. And then, we don't underestimate the guy standing up in front of people he idolizes and speaking for 3 minutes unassisted in a language completely foreign to him. Like, he didn't speak English last year when he won the tournament. So to put the effort in to do that. Yeah. And then I think just more broadly, we shouldn't sleep on, he has not been, I was about to say he's not been in great form. He hasn't really been playing golf. He's been injured. really, really bad neck injury. And I think in the context of that, it was a really admirable defence. And, he got a really nice ovation coming up to 18 today from the patrons. And I've got an enormous amount of respect for him as a player. I think he's a wonderful, wonderful gift to the game in so many different ways. So yeah, good call out, Drew. Good call out.
The only thing I'll just say on that, like as well, to back your point up, is this is going to sound bad, but he doesn't speak English well. So for him to stand up and speak broken English for 3 minutes would be fucking daunting in front of Tiger Woods and Gary Player and all of these guys who are just phenomenal. Jack, for him to, I think that would have been absolutely nerve-wracking for him to get up and it's like you and I trying to get up and speak another language in front of people that we idolize, and it would be, completely nerve-wracking. So that's
completely agree.
That's probably me. Have you got anything else that you want to flag?
No. I think so. I just want to round back. I think you mentioned we only had one tip for Scottie Scheffler.
Do you want to give it away?
I think we should.
All right, let's do it.
So I think just to ever so briefly talk this through. The competition was name your winner. Obviously, tag the great people at Sure Shot. Oh, what was your shot of the week, by the way? I think mine was probably Rory out of the bunker on 18 today.
Yeah, I think so. There was lots. Like, it's hard. Like, Stuart Sink's ace is pretty cool. Like, that's always hard to beat.
I think you mean kitchen
sink.
Yeah.
No, look, there were heaps. Like, I thought, I don't know. There were so many shots that just, again, to use your sort of way of looking at it, the context of what some of the shots that Scottie Scheffler hit, like the chip in on 3 is arguably what stemmed the tide and really changed things. Like, that's potentially shot of the week. But I reckon for pure theatrics and drama, I'll side with you and say Rory.
Thanks to our great friends at Sure Shot. So the competition was pick your winner, tag Sure Shot, pick the score. Now, the condition we put on it was closest to without going over. Now, even before the 4-putt, our Scottie Scheffler entry wouldn't have qualified because Scottie Scheffler was on the green. Oh, I think he had a birdie. No, he had a birdie putt. So, look, the guess was 13 under, Scottie Scheffler.
Yeah.
Scottie Scheffler went up the 18 to 12 under, had a putt for birdie, and then obviously dropped 3 shots. Now, I think that's tough. And had there been more than one person that selected Scottie Scheffler to win the tournament, then I think this jackpots. It becomes chase the ace.
Yeah.
But I think in the interest of fairness, the one person to put their balls on the wall and say, ironically, put their balls on the wall and say the number 1 player in the world and the guy who's won 3 times from his last 5 starts is going to win the Masters. I think just because they didn't pick the score, I don't think that should rule them out. So I think we should award the Access Watch.
All right, that sounds good. And I just want to say, not taking anything away from whoever won that, but the only thing I got right all week, aside from sort of the narrative around Tiger, which was very obvious for everyone to see, you asked me what the winning score was going to be, and I said between 9 and 13. It's the only thing I got right all week, and I'm going to take a small win away from what was a pretty disappointing week for me with my now arch enemy Justin Thomas.
And so you should, because I think I said it would be closer to the 9 than it would be to the 13. But
hey, we're both right. We're both right.
We were.
Not often that we're right. So let's take the wins. Well done, mate, whoever won that. I don't know who it was.
We'll get it to you.
Yeah.
That'll do us, I think.
Yeah.
Look, 86th version of the Masters, I think we'll look on with mixed emotions. It was bitterly disappointing, but hard not to root for a guy like Scottie Scheffler. Really, really hard not to root for a guy like Scottie Scheffler. So another great year at Augusta. I think we're less than 40 days to the PGA. Brookline Country Club for the PGA.
Yeah, I think so. Otherwise,
the US Open's not a Brookline Country Club, is it? I think the PGA is a Brookline.
I don't know. You're telling the story, mate. I should know this, but anyway.
Well, I should probably know it. All I know is that Shane Lowry is going to win the Open Championship at St Andrews. So
big call.
Lock it in. Get on it now. You want? It can be both my roughie and my tip. Wouldn't be a roughie. The guy's a defending champion playing championship. So,
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
We'll be back. very shortly. We've got a chat coming up with our friends at Blitz Golf.
Yes, so spoke to them previously, just before we jumped on to record this. Had Simon from Blitz Golf on the show. Had a good 15 to 20 minutes. It'll be a very short episode. I do about a 2-minute intro. Just there's a bit of golf news as well around the Aussie PGA.
Yes,
I'm sure you saw. So I've given that a bit of love at the top, and then we'll chat to Simon from Blitz Golf, which they are kicking their sort of 2 pro events off in Adelaide on Monday, free event, and then over here in WA on the 26th of April at WA Golf Club. So, good 15-minute episode just for you to get your teeth into. On Thursday, that'll come out.
Love the team at Blitz Golf. And the only other thing to flag, Drew, is I believe tonight is episode 198, which would make
something like that.
The episode with Blitz Golf, episode 199.
Let's not put out exact numbers, because I was trying to work this out before, and I think we might be at 190. Because how many episodes did we do last week?
I thought this was 198. I was fairly confident this was 198.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It is. It's 198.
So 198 tonight. We got Simon Blitz Golf, 199, which means next week we will be recording episode 200. Yeah. We're handing that over to our listeners.
Yes.
We've had some wonderful submissions of questions, but essentially this is your opportunity to ask us anything. It doesn't have to be golf related. There's been some interesting left field ones.
There has. I'm just trying to find where they were, because I was screenshotting them all.
One asked us, what do you do for a living? And there is a little thing called LinkedIn. If you've not heard of it, it's generally a pretty good place to start if you're curious as to what people do for a profession. But long story short, the best question submitted as adjudged by your 2 loyal co-hosts of the 19th tee will take home a pair of sunglasses, thanks to our good friends at Oakley. So a couple of good submissions. Certainly plenty of time left to get yours in, and you will go on the running to wear a pair of sunnies from Oakley, which good bit of gear. We both rock the Oakleys on the course, and they are without peer. That's why you see literally any player who wears sunglasses, they're Oakleys. So I'd highly recommend popping your question in and going in the draw for the Oakleys as we look to record our 200th episode next week.